Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There you go, right down there. If you want to be among the first to hear my weekly takes, NFL, college football, more, right there. So, you know how you said you're a 1% football watcher?
Yeah.
So football is such a collaboration sport that it is hard. That's why excellent GMs can struggle on quarterbacks, first-round wide receivers, first-round tight ends. I mean, have you ever noticed the position that rarely misses in the first round? It's guard, center.
Yeah.
Because if you have a weakness, you're protected. It's a strong unit. But a quarterback, a wide receiver, you're often doing your own thing, a corner. And so in football, even though I love the sport, it is hard to project how quarterbacks will work within the collaboration and the system. Are they smart enough? Are they coachable? Are they defensive, insecure? Are they confident but not cocky? I think in basketball, though it's my second favorite sport to all footballs, I am pretty accurate on something. Is that because it's a more independent sport, I really pay attention to personality and interviews and how you respond to questions. And a European player, just because the culture is different than a domestic player, it's just different. The way they're taught, the way they grow up, they drink wine, they smoke more often. You know, it's a different culture. They tend to come in speaking multiple languages. You know, the European Union, it's a collective, whereas in America, it's the South is different than the West, is different than the Northeast. It's the French school system. There's a lot of, there's different. So I look at personalities, and I've been right on a lot of players very early, whereas I didn't buy Westbrook. I was very much don't buy into Melo as a winning player or Derrick Rose. And the avalanche of criticism comes down that you don't know the sport, you don't watch it. But I think personality matters more in basketball because the individual matters so much more. It's not as big a collective. The Celtics are very unique. It's a collection more than it is a star. And this is where you and I disagree with Luka. I think you can coach people out of virtually anything except indifference. And I believe he is such an offensive prodigy. He is indifferent to defense, and it will never be great. Now you say, well, Kobe became a very good defensive player. Kobe's idol was Michael Jordan, who is a great defensive player. So players that idolized Michael all played defense. Most of them played the guys, the Kobe's.
Yeah.
Michael played defense. That was part of his aura. Was he was a hard ass.
Yes.
Who is Luka? Who is his idol? Who is his? I think he has much more in common with Melo, that he is so gifted offensively. Melo was better than LeBron offensively from initially. He was just more gifted.
Better shooter. Yeah, better scorer initially.
That I'm not sure that you'll ever convince Luka that defense matters.
So here's where I'm going to push back. So Luka is on the record when he came into the league that he grew up idolizing LeBron. LeBron is who he modeled his game after, and you see it. Now, he then signed with Jordan Brand, and all of a sudden, he's an MJ acolyte. It's amazing how that works out. But when Luka was, unsullied by endorsement, he was a big LeBron guy. Now, Luka is never going to be the athlete LeBron is. I really, and by the way, nobody is.
That's right. Nobody is.
I encourage anyone, Haralabab Vulgaris, who now owns talk about the golden life, man. Guy was a professional gambler, greatest NBA bettor of all time, made maybe $1 billion. That's probably overstating him, but close to it in crypto from his gambling winnings, bought a Spanish soccer team, and now they've moved up multiple divisions. What a life. But he also helped run the Mavs when they drafted Luka. Haralabab tweeted out a clip a few days ago of 25-year-old LeBron James like a 4-minute clip of his blocks and dunks and everything, like reminding everyone, like, guys, what this guy was at his peak athleticism, it was unfathomable, and we haven't seen anything like it since.
Yeah. LeBron is the only guarantee in American sports history. Let's just do basketball, football.
Yeah.
That there is no question that if he has chosen football, he would have been a multiple-time Pro Bowler.
Oh, yeah.
No question. Not
question.
even debatable. He would have been one of the best tight ends of all time. Let's stop debating it.
Right.
6'8", 250, fast with great hands and vision.
Right. And seemingly indestructible for 17 years. But okay. So there are obviously things LeBron could do that Luka never will be able to do because of the athleticism. But stylistically, they're very similar as far as I'm going to have the ball in my hands. I am going to control an offense. I will try to pick on people in a pick and roll. I will spoon feed players, open threes and lob dunks, like all of it. He's not going to be the defender LeBron was. There was a 5-year period where LeBron was every year was top 5 defensive player of the year voting, and I think twice or 3 times second place. He's not going to be that guy. My argument is he doesn't need to be. Can Luka be Steph Curry defensively? Obviously. Can he be Magic Johnson defensively? Obviously. Has he already shown improvement from where it was a few years ago? Yes. So here's what I think about Luka. I think that his bad defensive moments are so glaring and obvious because he's just not running down the court. He is just standing there. He's angry. And I also think every game he walks a fine line between, I am going to get so enraged with every fan, every ref, that I end up playing my best basketball, and I am going to get so enraged with every fan, every ref, that it takes me out of my game, and I'm like almost playing in protest. He's got to mature in that regard. But the part of the Melo thing the reason I push back so much on that comp is that Luka already has done more winning than Melo did. Melo made a conference finals once. Luka did that in year 4. Luka's already made an NBA finals, and he is a willing passer of the ball and a guy who has people bring up Harden because Harden was a willing passer of the ball. Harden, though, every single year of his career got worse in the playoffs. Luka, every year of his career, except for this one, his numbers have gotten better in the playoffs. So I just think that there was never a moment where Melo was credibly a consensus top 3 player. Luka is right now. And so I disagree with you on Luka.
And by the way, I've said, I think Luka's a much better Carmelo Anthony. By the way, Michael was a better Kobe. Not always much better, but better. Kobe had better range. I thought Kobe was a really clever passer when he decided to. A very good ball handler. Michael was a better Kobe. I think Luka's a much better Carmelo. But there are traits and indifference to certain things like being in shape and defense.
Well, so the being in shape thing, he has to grow up on.
Yeah.
That part. So here's the deal. I think it is very, very difficult for people who have succeeded at every step. This guy's playing in the second biggest league in the world at 16 and won MVP of it at 18. And won the championship at 18, not in some small league, in the second best basketball league in the world to the NBA. He then gets to the NBA, wins Rookie of the Year, and then succeeds, carries the team to a conference finals. Last year, they fail, but it feels more about the team was weird, that he and Kyrie didn't gel. This year, they make it all the way to the finals, and yes, he was banged up, but he also knows he was a little out of gas. I think it is very hard if anyone has a bad habit that they are succeeding despite,
That's
I
right.
don't think they ever kick it until that bad habit
I've said,
bites them.
yep, I've said before, the only way you quit smoking is if your doctor says you're going to die. That's
Right.
it.
And there's a lot of people who I'm going to again we were using dark analogies. There are a lot of people listening who were I'm sure what I would call very regular tipsy drivers. It was just never didn't call cabs, whatever it is. Like, oh, my buddies have a few drinks, drive home, and did it hundreds of times, and never were. And people were like, you shouldn't drive, and only stopped because they got pulled over and they got a DUI. Like there is,
Yeah.
and again, that's a dark analogy, but the point is, if someone says to you, you've got to be in better shape, you've got to be in better shape, and you're like, oh, really? Because I keep averaging 35 points a game in the playoffs and being first team All NBA. But this year I know they made the finals, but he did seem out of gas at times.
Yeah.
And so in order to be able to play 100-game seasons, which is what he's got to do, he does have to be in better shape. That part's fair. And he can't always be mad at the refs. That part.
Yeah.
But I just think the reason I thought the focus on the defense was overstated was the Mavs didn't lose this finals because of the defense. The Mavs, this craziest stat of the NBA season is the worst 5-game stretch Boston had all year, as far as points scored, was the NBA finals. They didn't have another 5-game stretch all year where they
kicked
scored
the
fewer
Mavericks'
points,
ass.
and they killed them. The Mavs didn't lose because of their defense. They lost because they couldn't score, which was because of Boston's defense. It wasn't that Dallas's defense was a problem. It was that Boston's defense was A+ for 4 of those 5 games and strangled the Mavs offense.